Barton, he says that he's an independent, but he ain't. You know, people. Some person on the internet is rolling money. Most partisan person in commentary. Black. One of the most. But there's others. The Democrats are the greatest, or give me more money. Give me more money, or the Democrats are the greatest, and Republicans are horrible. That's everything he said.
All right. What up?
It does not come with spring water.
Like I was
All you
saying
need is no spring
earlier,
water in it. You'll be good.
we're listening to some TimeBlack, Puzzling&Politics. What's the title? Border Wars, Flag Burners, and DEI Delusion. The wildest take in politics.
What up, emoji smiling face with open hands.
What up? They gotta be flyers, huh? Yeah.
People, it's for the people. Simple.
How the audio sounded,
that's what we do. We do politics.
How the podcast sounded. It's clear.
Comes up and
Give me a
says,
thumbs
talk
up.
about politics, I'm gonna sock you.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427.
We'll talk about black culture and breaking news, but for the most part, we're the politics. U.S. politics. That politics sector. I can't do everything.
Through a monitor on his desk.
Can't try to be everything to everyone. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. So everybody's you all
This
you
is
know,
what employee
we doing over here. People do I got my people in the house
every month of every year.
Although others might have considered it so, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
You sound sexy, guapo, my bean. Emoji smacking lips. Emoji smacking lips.
Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
That was me. I gotta touch everything.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
It's crazy times, TimeBlack.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
He says, I have a new love and appreciation for black men. Y'all leading us in this war. Okay. Well, speak that truth.
We be trying.
Forward man says, represent. Harry says, give it to you. He gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you. Yeah.
Hello.
When Stanley came to
we in the house,
man, he entered the door on his left.
We got a couple topics.
I'm going right there, narrator.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
You recognize it. Yeah, you know it. The one, the only, Bang Bang Shrimp, and only at Bonefish Grill.
Bang Bang ass out of here.
And, Yeah, that's the goal, man. That is the goal. It'd be great, guys. Hit the like button. Let people know you're watching the show. Let's get it out of the algorithm.
It'd really be worth
YouTube,
the detour
share
after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate,
for
beautifully
bragging rights.
constructed
I do want to
room.
reach more people. I want to
Stanley
help
simply stood here,
if
drinking
you're
it all
watching on
in.
X. That you hit the
But
like
eager
button and
to
share
get
as
back
well.
to business,
I got a lot of people
Stanley
on
took
X,
the
man.
first open door on his left.
X got folks, man. X has people coming through. That damn Facebook that don't want me to reach anybody. At some point, I'm gonna find out.
Stanley was so
Why
bad at following
Facebook hates
directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years
Maybe I'll
ago.
just ask Zuckerberg if I see him. Next time I bump into him.
Penalty for misuse of cargo
The
lift.
platform, it sucks.
Damn.
Why do people
5,000.
decrease my reach by 95%?
Will cause death. No shit.
Is it something I said there?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
So
I
fun
realize
times
investing
here on
your
the
trust in
TimeBlack show.
someone
We're gonna
else
go in.
can
We're
be
gonna make some
difficult. But the
friends.
fact is that the story has been
Start
about
tonight's
nothing
show off
but you.
by reminding people.
Really? I was in the middle of
That's
something.
all
Do you
half a
have
party.
zero consideration for others?
me
Are you
talking.
that convinced that I want something
Don't blame
bad
me.
to happen to you? Why, I don't know
Half a
how to
party.
convince you of this, but I really
No,
do want to help you, to show you
don't believe
something
me?
beautiful. Look,
Blind
let me prove
eyes.
it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Flagpole, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know who the fuck. My conscience? I'm fighting my conscience.
I'm just going ahead and I'm going
Now
on a
listen
limb.
carefully, this is important.
Go out
Stanley
on a limb.
walked
Let me say
through
that
the
if
red
you
door.
had 100 people and only 30 of them said you
The
were
Matrix.
favorable,
Psych.
and 57 of them
Perhaps you
said,
misunderstood. Stanley walked
kick rocks.
through the red
Can't stand
door.
Okay. Psych.
maybe instead of
I still don't
Jasmine
think we're
Crockett
communicating.
every time,
Stanley walked
Never is
through
shit.
the red door.
come up with to
Psych,
make
man.
yourself popular.
All right, fine.
Maybe
go
you
ahead,
start
Stanley.
working on your internal,
You want to know so
problems,
badly
like
what's out there? You want to find out what
focus
lies
on
at the end of
becoming
this
a better
road
person.
you've chosen? Well, don't let
Obviously,
me
this ain't
stop
working
you.
for you.
Yeah, let's see
You
it.
see? There's nothing
Yeah.
here.
And
Haven't
this
even
is not
finished
an old
building
poll.
the
This is a
section
new
of the map,
poll.
because you were never supposed to be
Ability,
here in the first place.
57%
Broken
unfavorable.
rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was
This
it
is not
worth
the-
ruining
this
the
is a
entire
graphic.
story
Gives you a
I'd
better
written out
idea of it.
specifically for you?
Some godly.
Hey.
I don't think I put a lot of time
Better
into
calm the
that, because
attitude
I
down,
did.
partner.
And in the
See.
end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted
Seems
to
like
see.
ever since
Help me here,
Obama
Stanley.
left
Help
office,
elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see?
the question was that
Vehicles?
asked. Oh, I'm
Skilled
sorry, it wasn't
trees?
asked for
Work with me. You gave me
2019 and
absolutely
2021. I'm
nothing
sorry.
so far.
Time off.
Tell you what. Let me take a stab
I
in
was
the
like,
dark
Jesus
at a new
Christ.
design, and you can give me some feedback.
Damn.
All right.
There we go.
Wasn't
A third
asked.
option. This already feels leaps
know how
ahead
it
of
went
where we were
between the
before.
times, so-
Go ahead, Stanley.
You don't
Take
know
it for
what
a
was going
spin.
on, but between its
Psych.
popularity,
Okay,
was it
I'm going to stop
2016?
you
What was
there.
it?
Now, tell me about your experience
this.
with
I
this
can't see it,
invention.
but I'm trying to
Would
see
you
this.
say that the game
So in
benefited from
2019,
allowing you more
2020,
choices? Feel free to be honest.
pretty much
I'm looking
even.
for
In
some real
fact,
critical feedback here.
popularity, though, their unpopularity, I'm sorry, their unpopularity
They
was
all the
only like,
same,
it looks like
man.
47.
4, yep, that
But
6, 8, 2.
then,
I gotta press one of them.
I don't know what caused it. What caused it? What is made them so unpopular? I don't know who it was.
Oh,
Has to
well,
be
now
Trump,
this is
right?
useful. You didn't like it,
Sorry,
but you didn't
Democrats,
hate
they
it either.
blame
You
Trump.
enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term.
Don't blame
It didn't
themselves.
cause you
Saying
excruciating
such thing as
pain.
introspection
Big steps we've made here today, Stanley.
is either
Here,
by
based
China.
on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new
Russia.
version. And to be perfectly
That's what it
candid,
is.
I think I've
Or
knocked it out of the park with this
really
one.
people
Let's
believing-
take a look.
Evening propaganda. It is. You know, I used to be that way. You know what I'm saying? If a lady who didn't like me, I'd just say, it's because, you know, she's
These real people.
standards are too low. She's not used to dating a man.
Ain't nobody
of
beat
my
this shit in goddamn 2 seconds. That's
Actually,
crazy.
I never use that as an excuse. You know, there are guys that do
This
that.
is
You know what I'm
you.
saying?
Oh my god.
She doesn't like me. That's because women do it too. They go, hey, if he doesn't like me, you don't like me? Everything.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard
you end up
helps
alone,
you feel motivated to keep walking through doors?
Of cats.
Again, honest answers, please.
Man,
Hey,
plus nobody deal protects you everywhere.
And now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some play testing.
When you're here.
You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Even
perfect.
You
Let me
paying?
boot it up.
Your holidays alone and
In this game,
oh my God!
I don't know, just
you click the button to move him back.
I mean to call nobody out. I know
And if
somebody
he reaches
watching like,
the
Tim, look,
fire,
man,
you
I did
fail.
not tune into
It's
this.
a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of
I
endlessly
say the Democratic
confronting
Party
the
is
demands
not
of family
a good
life.
judge of its
I
own
think the
character.
art
It ain't about
will
making
really
themselves
take
better. What
notice.
they
But
are
of course,
is
the message of the game only becomes clear
Black
once you've played
Americans
for
to
about
be
4
supportive of
hours.
the party.
So why don't you
guys,
give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be
Shoot.
sure to
Draft
keep
is
notes
horrible,
on
and
your
it's
experience.
no excuse, right? No excuse why
Give a fuck.
to be so damn high.
You heartless bastard.
Hey.
Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
I'm not happy until I
If
start
it's the
seeing
latter,
Black
well, I don't know
Americans.
what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't
pretty
think
sure
of a
this would be
single
even
thing
higher
that might improve
if it
the
wasn't for
experience
black
me.
women.
I'm not
In
even
line
going
with
to
the
try.
Democratic Party.
LOL, nice you made
I'm
last
done.
place.
And
Good
black
job,
men as
babe.
well,
At
so
least
black
you
women are the
placed
top.
somewhere.
Your input
LOL.
was
Emoji
extremely
grinning,
valuable.
squinting
Tippy-top.
face.
Hey,
I'm
since
falling
the
for the
game's
BS.
awful, why don't we play someone else's game?
King black
Just
men,
to ease the
they're number
pain.
2.
Let's see. What do we
We all
have
have a
here?
responsibility here.
What did you do?
Other groups don't put all their
Yes,
trust in the
this
Democrats.
seems
They
like
know
it'll
better.
work. Let's give it a shot.
I feel I can get black America to feel the same way. At least as worried as Democrats as Latinos are. Asians are. Those are swing voters.
Fascinating.
They
What do you
pick
think this
and
game is
choose
about,
when they,
Stanley?
you know, you
What's
never
our
know what the
backstory?
Asians are
What is
going to
our
do
motivation?
come election time.
Okay.
Well, it seems
Same
obvious
thing with
to me
Latinos,
that
with
you
black
are meant
people.
to play as a creepy man spying on innocent
always bet on
civilians
black.
below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps
has
for
to
some
change,
sort
man.
of twisted erotic
Yeah.
purpose.
Oh no.
Out of that
Yes,
mindset, because that
must be
mindset
it.
is
What
in
a
it for us.
fascinating venture into the experience
What's
of
happening to the
total
party?
mental
The
Party's
depravity.
going down the
So
toilet.
far,
Now,
I
you
love
gotta ask
everything
yourself.
about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more.
Hope you would ask yourself,
Come, let's
why is
venture
it that
outward
other
and
groups
see what
have
else
left
is out there.
You know, ain't no
Have
Mary
other groups
Jane on
taken
that
off
list. For
so rapid? Why has the unapproval rating risen? Ask yourself why you stuck around. Oh, because you the smart one. Why you falling for the BS? Why you let Biden talk down to you? Why you let Obama talk shit to you?
That's a vastness. Nature.
Apologize for that shit. People, I ain't the president of Black America. I'm the president of America. Did Obama say that? I mean, you know, I'm sorry, did Trump say that to MAGA? I'm not the president of ever people. I'm just saying, like, did he ever apologize for that? Did he ever apologize for pulling pants up, Pookie?
It is.
he did.
It's an
I think he
open
had to.
world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
Oh, girls, boy, you be quiet. He the good guy. He the president. Look at all he got to put up with.
Close call. You nearly wandered off into that
Look at all he had to go
that
through.
big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions,
Pierre,
no path to follow.
Pierre,
You could
that's
just go in
that's
any.
him and Aries Spears. That's how they talk.
Thank
Whenever I
heavens.
criticized
We're out of the
Obama,
woods
it'd
now,
be
Stan.
Aries Spears, dumbass.
Okay, I'm going
Look at all
to
he's
get us
been
out
up
of here.
against.
Let's find another
The
game.
government.
Preferably something with walls.
Bobby can't the
Something
government
with
support the
nice,
black
big,
brother.
insurmountable
Against all
Insurmountable
this, we shouldn't do it
walls.
like
Hell
that.
no. I want to be free.
Hey, I think this will be just
Free
Put
me.
his hands on you, because you dumb, bro. What we gave Barack Obama, what did he give us? He gave us, look at,
Okay, what we got?
kids,
Was
this
Rocky
is
League?
what I had in mind.
I could be a
Just
corrupt
a
Negro
nice
too one
big
day if I
box for
want
you
to
to run around
be
in.
president
There
and
isn't
sell
any
out black people.
possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game
Yeah,
design.
I'm coming in hot, Johnson.
Stanley, if you manage to get
We're
Rocket
starting off
League.
with
I will be phenomenally impressed.
It's a slow walking tonight. Decided to go for
Give me a car.
and start
I'll
knocking
score a
people the
goal
hell out
right now.
off
Okay,
the
so what
top.
exactly do we do here?
Spears is a moron.
There are
Pierre
lots
is
of
an
cars
idiot.
here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack.
I can think the
Okay,
same.
I'm saying that
Those
there's a
are
ball
actually,
of some kind back
the
here.
better
Is this
things,
game
I can
sports ball? Stanley, I think it's
That's
sports
like he
ball.
needs your damn
What
defense.
fun. We shall run the
supposed to be
bases and do a
defending you, by the way.
touchdown together. Yeah,
Work for
I
us.
think surely we must. Okay, Stanley. He's
supposed to be like, he don't need you. He was the most powerful man.
Get in here.
I got to defend
him. For black people. Let's go. It's a choice within itself right here.
That's stupid.
Get in there.
Are you doing it?
I can share that with all you Democrats.
Oh, shit.
6 of you. I don't get a lot of Democrats watching this show.
I don't need to do that.
I would rather stand in front of a tractor trailer.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there.
You know what I'm saying? I don't play games.
How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that.
Let's move on, man. We got a couple stories we want to get to. That's just the opening.
About time you shut up.
Let people know what to expect. Make sure they want to stick around. I want to show my people my let me run the VIP list real quick. VIPs. VIPs. VIPs.
Can't see nothing.
On the TimeBlack show. Being a VIP member of the show.
Ah,
you shit! That you want content.
Damn.
Also, make sure that this flagship program sticks around. Go to jointimblack.com. You can also try to find me at Tim's Take Live. .com, Tim's Take Live. That'd be another. That would be a good idea. I mean, because what we do here, I think is different. It's different. Purpose.
Grandma! Oh, thank goodness she's not home.
Milking these commercials, ain't
I need
it?
you to download all 3 seasons of Ham Babies. Thank you, see.
So, with that, my people, our goal tonight is 400 likes. I know we can do it because we are people that can do. We want to do. America can do what it wants to do if it wants to do it. America wants to end poverty. It would. It could. It could do it right now. If it wanted to end every child that's living under the poverty line, it could do it in the blink of an eye. Quickly. No problem at all. Instant funding Ukraine. Problem solved. America wanted to end homelessness. Across the globe, but just in America. Chump change. Money that we sent to Israel.
Oh, shit.
Money.
This motherfucker crazy,
I wonder
boy.
what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story,
No problem. Quick, done tomorrow. Wake up, no homelessness.
Right,
if that's what we wanted to do. Maybe it take 2 weeks just because of logistics.
He'll learn the heavy cost that comes with it.
Done.
He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back.
Paid health care.
We'll be here soon.
Poverty.
Soon. I can wait.
All right, folks. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
The flag has been coming down.
The end is never the end. Is never the end. Is never loading. The end is never the end.
Too. We've been talking a lot about DEI. I'm on this thing, man. I ain't gonna get off this DEI train no more, man. I'm running through people with my DEI truths. People are thinking, man. They're thinking that somebody's stupid. Numbers are posted. SBA.gov. Go to SBA.gov. Look at the contracts.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
6. That's the high number. Got 1.3. 1.6.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
The DEI under Biden.
This room.
Psych.
But Peter, to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door.
Now, I know that's not that exciting. It's not exciting. It's not bragging. That's why nobody bragged about it.
Stanley was so bad at following directions.
Nobody bragging about it.
He wasn't fired years ago.
So
am I jumping off again?
Run on what was already done. She had to run on what she said she was trying to do.
I'm not your enemy.
Or should I ride it out?
man.
I realize
That's why
that
they need
investing
it.
your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing. Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you
I don't give a fuck.
consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? What? I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
Why you do that?
Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
You ain't gonna be able to help her win or lose.
Chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood.
I don't hate you, brother. You was just super wrong, like.
Door. I still don't think we're communicating properly.
You are so wrong.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley?
Like 500 pounds, no bullshit.
Stop.
500 pounds. He didn't want to try to put her in this car because
happier if we just
big, like,
stop.
She's suing him because she fat.
Well, I think I have a solution. Here,
Bro.
Let me show you.
Man, that's how wrong you was, Lou. But I love you, bro. I just... What's going on, man? I think people, man, they can't take the internet now. Now it's these arguments with Tariq Nasheed and FBA and all this stuff, man. It's just unnecessary, man. We need to do a ceasefire on all this shit.
What are we looking for?
I see Willie D putting out videos. He's going crazy. I'm sorry. What am I talking about? I'm not talking about this, man. The point is this, man. This DEI thing, I ain't going to start talking about the DEI pushback. I'm tired of the nonsense. Why black people were upset about a program ending that wasn't helping us to begin with?
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right
I know people
here,
upset that
right in this moment,
rolling back
with
civil
this
rights.
place,
Okay, let's
Stanley,
talk about the civil rights thing. Don't talk to me about DEI.
I actually feel happy.
I don't hear that shit. Because once I did the research on that, a little it impacted us in a positive way. In fact, it may have impacted us in a negative way.
Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs.
They got
if you hurt
1.6
yourself,
under that
if
program.
you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Kill me.
No, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
So here goes the clip I like to share with you. Well, my good friend out of Brazil, just joking, not my friend.
I'm going again.
No. What are you doing?
You got one more time.
I'm asking you not to take this away from me.
Hell no. I went through the wrong door.
If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley.
One more time.
Can you do that for me?
No.
My God. Is this really how much you dislike my game? You'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it?
Rid of it.
You're literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy.
Through all of the reasons why
it's your game. I don't play games. I play recess because of games.
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
Want to go back and walk through the door again.
By other members of his cabinet. Your reaction?
Damn.
Well, as you well know, George, politics has no place.
I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I wish. I still thought that was possible.
Walk me off the edge. Fuck it. Nope. Don't work like that.
To show compassion, to comfort those who are right now just trying to figure things out.
Yeah, we don't want nobody talk about what caused the crash. And we want is people talking about what happened.
You jump again? I can't sprint no more.
How it happened. Well, we can be concerned with causes. One of the most horrific crashes in the last 50 years. You don't want to talk about what may have caused it? Don't get me wrong. I don't think Trump should have said DEI in this conversation at all. Be very specific. Because all it does is open up a way for Don Brazil and other Democrats to come out here and say he meant black.
It's going to restart, isn't it?
Yes, and that means black.
I'm going back.
And only like 3% of people that are black. Okay, so there ain't no black people in aviation like that. I think it's like 2%. By the way, when you watch TV and you see Denzel flying planes and shit, Hollywood. When you see,
all of his co-workers were
when
gone.
you watch the movie and you see black
Stanley decided to go
professionals
to
and
the
all these
meeting room.
jobs,
Perhaps
every other movie has a black person leading a law firm or working at the top of a law firm or top position or whatever. Be recognized. That's Hollywood.
No.
When Stanley came
they wanted to do that because they like giving a facade of inclusion for black Americans. That's bullshit.
Well.
Only like 2% of male doctors are black. Only 2% of female lawyers are black women. You understand what I'm saying? So,
a work of art. But eager to get back to business,
so when Trump
Stanley
said DEI, he wasn't talking about you in relation to
you can't cry. Ain't that some shit? For what though?
Stanley was so bad at following
it's not black versus white.
It's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Some things are the black versus white.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've
gotten
off
on the
white
boy.
foot here. I'm not your enemy.
Black versus white.
I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story is... Really?
A lot of things black
versus white. In the middle of something, do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why?
And also, let me also
this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
I'm betting 98% of people that talk about this issue, about this,
give me a chance.
About the
now listen carefully. This is important.
Crash.
Stanley walked
through the red door. Black Hawk helicopter. They didn't watch the entire press conference.
Perhaps you misunderstood.
Trump
Stanley walked
distinctly
through the
said
door.
He felt
I
the
still
problem.
Don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley, all right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see?
What he said.
There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map. Because
Trump
you were never supposed to be here in the
Anybody
first
knows
place.
Trump knows.
Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you
only
wanted?
About 15% of what he says is germane to the conversation.
The
rest is just him spitballing and freestyle.
I don't think I
go up once he looks away at his teleprompter.
It was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles?
He thought it was a line of sight.
Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what.
He mentioned DEI throughout his speech. He did not blame the crash on DEI.
There we go.
He did say
option. This already
ruling it out,
ahead of
and I have no way to say it was.
Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Democratic Party and being the party that it is, and being the corporate media that we have, they ain't going to shoot us straight.
Tell me
They've
about
never been honest about Trump. Nothing about what he says will ever keep it real. We will always have morons.
Feel free to be
honest. TV news
and
believe it verbatim.
Feedback here.
Who are lazy as hell. They have a computer in their hands. They won't look up and listen to the speech for themselves. That's why for 10 years, I got the simple thinking, Trump said
that's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge.
10 years. When they find out they've been lied
based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version.
He's still bad.
Candid, I think
How
I've
bad
knocked
their
it
brains
out
are.
of the
They
park
have
with
brain
this one.
rot.
Let's take a look.
This is brain rot. They have been infected by a disease given to them by corporate media.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated
media
to
is
keep
garbage.
walking through doors?
Does that mean he's a saint?
Honest answers, please.
Does that mean he is Saint
Hey,
Trump?
I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of the new game I've been working on, and now
Stop
would be
saying
a lovely
he is not a
opportunity to
saint.
give it some play testing. You wouldn't mind taking... Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of the new... Hey, I nearly
Media
forgot.
is much
I've got
worse. Party is worse
this
than
shit
Trump.
crazy. This game is something else. Okay.
Go back to this. Go back. Let's listen to Donna Brazil.
Towards danger. You
fucking kids.
Also, let me say,
to the right. And if
it was very
reaches
refreshing to hear a president be as direct as Trump was. And to speak about a crash and talk like a person, like a human being, unlike Biden.
I think the art world
had a
will
corpse
really
as a president.
notice. But of course,
Come
the
on and say
message of
that.
the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for
It's
about
bullshit.
4 hours.
So,
why don't you give it 4 hours of play to be
George.
sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Conference regarding the crash much more than I'm sure I would have
Fuck you, little
enjoyed.
baby.
As far as enjoy,
You
felt that the
heartless
sentiments
bastard.
were real.
Did you do it because you hate
It never did
babies
him
or
throwing in the
purely to
DI
spite
shit.
me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out.
But you'll never say that.
It's over.
You can't.
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see.
Zill's such a good liar. Trains other politicians on how to lie.
Yes. This seems like it'll work. Let's give it a
Politician
shot.
Whisperer. Keep going.
Fact. Engaged workers get more done and are more likely to stay with your company.
Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
After just a few words,
well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more.
Why do y'all act like it's talking about black people?
See what else is out there.
Because all of this seems like it's focused on black people and against white people. So I want us to boycott Target then. What's her name? B something? Why are they trying to make us stop buying her shit?
Oh no.
If this is against everybody, cutting DEI policies is a slight to the entire country.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
If everybody gets a gold star.
No.
Gold stars.
That was almost free.
I'm serious. If everybody gets a gold star.
Open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow.
You can just go in how does it hurt anybody? Okay, we're not going to boost anyone. We were boosting everyone. Now let's stop boosting.
Okay, I'm going to get us out of here.
Let's
boost
find
another
no
game.
Okay, if that's the case, how does that hurt us or help us?
Nice, big,
boosting everyone.
Mountable walls. Oh my God.
Is this coming through? Is this ringing true? You understand what I'm saying?
I think this will be just
program helping everyone. And if you stop the program, helps no one.
Wonderful.
Why are you trying to? Why is corporate America and the Democrats so invested on making black people be the face
that you could get lost here? Now this is game design.
Your puppy dogs.
Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally
You attack dogs. What they want us to be? They want us to be attack dogs, Johnson.
Okay, so what exactly
you are their beast of burden. You will forever be their
cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here.
Make it so I can understand. Make it very basic.
Stanley, I think it's sports ball.
Throw a rock and hit it in.
We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yeah, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Why should I give a shit about a program? It didn't benefit us. It benefited the entire country. And we're the ones on the bottom. Give a shit about that program going over there weren't really benefiting. Say it if somebody come in my house. Get them the hell out. Somebody come in everybody's house. Everybody gonna get them?
Are you doing it? Are you winning?
Hey, we got an open house one day a week.
Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I
what the argument has been.
And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience.
What the policy has been underbided for the last 4 years. Why was inflation so high?
Yes.
It was helping everybody.
Oh, goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it?
Tell me,
Stanley,
for the last
I'm like
4
a child
years,
in a confectionary
these GI
shop.
processes have been in place,
to have
right?
more. I'm insatiable.
Country in the shit. Circle in the bowl for 4 years. Okay, so just ask it, Johnson. If these policies were great and they helped us, all of us, why about all of us?
Are you enjoying this?
Hot dogs.
Are you having fun?
No buzz for the last one. I'm trying to understand, Johnson.
Well,
you understand what I'm saying?
Having a good time.
You get what I'm going from?
It's
I'm going here with this.
That's right. Your little fun comes to an end. This is my
Who's your brain for something been holding up a hat?
You get to have fun when
Use
I
your
let
head
you,
for
Stanley.
something
hell no.
You need someone like me to set
Boundaries
boundaries
for me?
Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes,
Nah, I
that's
need
what
freedom.
I am structure. I'm your sense
Sense
of
of
purpose.
purpose.
And since you
Ooh.
decided you didn't want to play my game,
It was
now
just a
I
low
don't want to
moment
play with you
again
either.
for
So
President
goodbye,
Trump, but we
Stanley.
need to remember
I'm leaving.
right now
See
that
how
a
you
full
like it when I'm not
investigation is
around to set the
underway.
rules.
There's still
Somehow, I
recovering
don't think
bodies,
you'll enjoy
and our
it as
gratitude
much.
goes
But
to
who
the men and
knows?
women who
You're
are
an
out there
inventive
on
kid.
that
You'll
icy
come up with
Potomac,
something.
still
After
trying to
all,
recover
you're the one
so that
who
we can get all
knows
of the facts
best.
together.
Take care, Stanley.
Fuck you.
Hold on. What are you doing?
And then what happened?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Welcome to the Jackbox Survey Scramble, a game that finally answers questions.
That's in the brightest. What? This is not an attack on the American. Ensure that no American is ever left behind, that we enlarge the pool of
shit.
individuals working in and out of government around the country. DEI is a tool that enables the government or corporations or individuals to open the door, to remove barriers, to bring in the best and the brightest. What? This is not an attack on the American people. This is an opportunity for every American to participate in the greatness of our great, wonderful nation. It is not about discrimination, but when you target people, when you say that people, simply because of the way they look, or how they walk, or who they love, are not qualified to do the jobs, it is not true. And look,
why they're not qualified? Because of the way they look. That's why they're not qualified. I'm not sure if that's the reason why. That's the reason why, Johnson. I thought they were not qualified. Not qualified. I thought it was another reason. Some people are not qualified.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him.
You're not qualified. I don't know. Anybody not qualified, is it because of their color? That's why they're not qualified? Can some people be not unqualified? They're unqualified.
That's who I am.
Say it, Johnson.
That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Yes,
so it's the same outcome.
Once this ends, after it all comes to a close,
everybody hear the show?
Then I'll be back.
Is everybody good?
The end will be here soon.
Everybody okay?
Very soon. I can wait.
Up, Glory.
You gonna start me back over again?
I don't know. Brazil's upset. She says that people aren't qualified. I wonder what. No, she says people are being called unqualified because of the way they look.
50, 60 years, the American people have really
they did. Fuck. All right.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Let me go with
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
In the private sector, DEI is a tool that enables the government or corporations or
new content. What does that mean? New content.
To bring in the best and the brightest. What? This is not an attack on the American people. This is an opportunity for every American to participate in the great.
Get it, Johnson. DEI help. Let's bring in the best people. Oh.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
But when you target people,
after receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and
because of how they
computers.
walk or how they look.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Depends on the job.
Please, step inside and see what
So the
thrilling new adventures await in the
That's
Stanley
one of the worst
Parable
things about doing this, man, is that there are some points that are valid. Like if you're getting discriminated
I'm very excited to see the thrilling new UltraDeluxe content.
What should be. Most people, that makes sense. If you're watching my show, you consider yourself a supporter of my show, but hope that you will be
special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Particularly racial discrimination, and it's like I'm a black guy, so that would make sense. That you watch black people. It's crazy.
What's going on
racist probably couldn't watch the show. But there's other type of discrimination.
Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more
all
ready.
Kinds of discrimination, I'm imagining. But,
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable
I'm trying to understand, Johnson, what she means.
Tedious. It's as if them...
Some things are true, some things are right, and I agree with some things.
Give me the content, Stanley.
We should not... Okay. Let me say this. This is because of what people said about Kamala Harris. People are still trading on the Kamala Harris law.
Let's see it's...
Democrats are still butthurt because we didn't accept Kamala as to be the next president. It is, right? I mean, that's really what it is. The Democrats are still singing over the laws they took.
Surely that's not all the new
Harris
content.
should have never been vice president, let alone the
right?
president. Where, like, you could pick up in your mind any scenario you want. But at the end of the day, Harris wasn't popular enough to win her own state. That's really why she dropped out of the race in 2020. Bearing that in mind, the fact that she was unable to become president should not shock anyone. Tell people, I'm a high black woman, and then you go high black woman, you could say it seems like it's because she was black, because she was a black woman, because you said it. Now, you and I know she ain't a black woman. She is Indian Asian woman. It's from Jamaica. Because since she got brown skin, everybody says she a black woman and
Stanley,
she DEI.
I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jump.
CBS has got a lawsuit.
Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley
a video interview with Kamala Harris
with over 1,000 hours of new content. And then, oh wait, there's more. Very
the books they couldn't take.
I knew there had to be
coherent when
something
she's
else.
not.
Let's see it.
It's a
I'm ready
basic
for whatever
question.
it is.
Honorable candidate, honorable campaigner, consider these things.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be
Shots are
kidding
so
me.
butthurt that people call her a DEI.
This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base
just
rush
DEI.
a cheap expansion to market for no
She
reason
was
other
that
than to make
red
an easy
and
dollar.
female,
And don't get me
I don't
started
think
on the
Biden
level
would
of
have chosen.
craftsmanship that's gone into it. In
I don't know why
fact,
Democrats
I'm
would have
looking
lied when
right
they know
now
that's
at the
the case.
game's trophies, and it's hard to believe
The
one of
side
them
of it
actually
is,
says,
she was
test
also
trophy,
chosen because
please
of political
ignore.
reasons.
What quality
She
assurance
was chosen
department
because
signed off
without
on
black
this?
women being fully
I'm
on board,
infuriated
Joe
and I'm
Biden
offended, and I
never
intend
had
to
a
phone
chance
these
to
people
win.
on Twitter
Okay?
and hold them personally
Black women.
accountable. It's my fault, Stanley.
Strong
I built
arm the
up too
Democratic
much
Party.
anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid.
Democratic
It
Party,
could never
they
have
were
lived
like,
up to
look,
such
you put
expectations.
Obama in there,
If
a
you're
black
still
woman
with
better
me,
be coming
why
soon.
don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the
What
Stanley
they
Parable
did.
is really
But that's
about.
not just DEI.
No frills,
That's also
no
politics.
gimmicks. Just
I
you and
mean,
me
that is a
having a great time together like always. What do you
selfish
say,
reason.
friend?
He did it for his own intentions. Not just DEI is not for
So
his
we're
own,
about to
your
start
own
over
intentions.
again.
Setting a DEI is not for your own personal gain. He did it not to adhere to some. Also, that's part of it, but it was more like, I want to appease these voters who are going to come out and vote for me, and they want to see a black woman on the ticket.
It's different. Good.
Politics.
Psst. Stanley.
You do that all the time. That's why Trump. That's why Obama went and got Biden.
I want to show you something.
Looking person went and got an old Confederate.
You don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine.
I love blocking out black people.
Anyway, so who cares?
This older white guy with a sketchy past when it comes to the blacks and incarceration rates.
Oh, never mind. You're not a dog.
Is that reverse DEI? Why'd he go do that? So, both sides of this are full of shit. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I think it's undeniable that both sides are full of shit. For some reason, some people don't want to accept that. But I want to clear it up for you. So the Democrats are really still pissed off about Kamala losing. And they don't know how to deal with it, so all they're doing is lashing out at this term, DEI. Unfortunately, we don't have enough people that are
No, I shouldn't have listened to you.
Kamala deserved to lose because she sucked.
I shouldn't have listened to this motherfucker.
She wasn't good enough to beat Trump. I don't think anybody on the Democratic roster was good enough to beat Trump. The Democrats are unpopular.
Okay, you remember
you
how
need to be somewhat popular in order to win if you're running as a party person.
Well,
Trump is not running as a party person. Anyway, I don't want to do this.
Stanley Parable
I don't want to talk anymore. Shut up,
So
Tim.
I made
Let's
something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Man, I want us to fix
doesn't
today.
the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful
look,
Stanley
maybe this
Parable
is wrong,
was before it was sullied with a cheap
maybe you don't agree with this, but I really want us to fix today in the future.
October of 2013,
that's
when the game
that's really what I want. I know it's
back
selfish.
then, video games had integrity.
Black
back
America,
then, it all meant something.
The wide wealth gap between Black America and White America. At the poverty line, I'm looking at rates. I'm looking at all these things that are happening. I'm sure Black History Facts. On Facebook is Real Tim Black, and on X is Real Tim Will. We focus on what's going on now, moving Black people forward and up. The bottom in this country. Yeah, you wanna remember the past? Just stay stuck in the past. I want us to look forward to what we're gonna do going forward. And that's what it should be. Look, so I know Trump is that guy that's had Black History Month. I mean, it is
and over here
Black History Month.
Reviews of the Stanley Parable.
Buying a car is kind of a big deal. There's like a million options.
10 out of 10
you deserve
from
something you love.
Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes,
shit, what the country does.
We're so
I
many
didn't give a
games
shit
that aspire to
if
be
Biden
more
made
than games end
Juneteenth
up
a
less
holiday.
than any form of art. Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created. Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now.
See, these
a
things,
lifeless husk.
I'm not saying they don't have any impact.
Their
their impact is marginal. Because look at where we are and look at all the shit that's been in place. Why would I be upset about things going away that obviously have not helped us? We need to be talking about the things we need to add to. Not be crying about things going away that are part of the things that aren't working for us. It's not working for us. It's working for us.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com.
comes into
The
this
Stanley
country,
Parable is both a richly stimulating
played in
commentary
5
on the
years,
nature of
they
choice
have
in
more wealth than
games,
us.
and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and
about.
rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a
do this,
game.
we need to do
9
that, we need
out
to
of
hold on
10.
this,
Don't you
hold on
get
that.
it, Stanley?
I can see if
The
it was
game
helping
was
us.
perfect.
You got us holding,
It didn't
it's like
need
we
anything
ain't
else.
late.
It didn't
We
need
in the
new
ocean.
content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine
water,
condition
trying to stay
along to
alive,
the
and you want to
PlayStation.
hold
Boom,
a bunch of
done.
suitcases.
And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go
Toys
meddling.
and trinkets.
These were simpler
Nothing
times,
to do with
Stanley.
us floating.
But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again.
Let's get a boat over here. Let's get some life jackets. And you would say would have hold on to these cases full of news clippings.
Wait, hang on.
Nothing for us.
I don't recall this part of the memory zone before.
Fine if you want to
What's
wax
this?
poetic
What's
and
down
have
here?
conversations with your child. I talk to my grandparents about Black history, that's fine.
Oh no, oh God,
Democratic
no,
Party need to be focused on the day of life, folks.
From pressurized
Focus on
gas,
the
extremely
water.
popular online
water-
storefront for computer
Big
games.
mess. You
I
focus
haven't
on
looked
that
at these
shit.
in years. I can't even
Stuff that
imagine
you,
what's being
the
collected down
NAACP,
here.
the Congressional
Surely
Black
these
Caucus,
reviews were
and they
glowing as
focused
well,
on
weren't they?
as it saved us. That's it. That's just too real. That makes too much
Honestly,
sense.
I could not be bothered to play this
It really
game to
makes me
full
question.
completion. The narrator is
you
obnoxious
guys are really
and
concerned with actually
unfunny,
me?
with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining.
How
Funny.
could I have these
Trying to be
ideas?
funny.
If you
I'm
not,
trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Yes, we need to give people opportunities that wouldn't have had opportunities, but we can't give people favoritism. And there's a big difference between giving, a lawyer an opportunity, because people can pick and choose whoever lawyer they want to hire. There are standards for, taking the bar exam, accreditation, and you go interview the lawyer and you hire a lawyer. But it's another thing if you're on an airplane.
Let's see what this one
and
says.
you have DAI initiatives.
Well, the idea for the game is good. For someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I?
Which I agree with.
Tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can.
Well, I just want to
This is actually
reassure
quite
the
shocking
American
for me.
people that fine.
Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's
do
dialogue
with
as being rather
anything.
terse to begin with. You can't know
perception.
how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to
Democrats
feel
are
as
losing
light
the
and airy as
perception
it-
game.
Well,
Losing
but maybe it wasn't.
culture war,
Dear.
perception
What
game,
an awful memory to have to
messaging
hold
game.
on to.
You just
These
lose.
black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure.
Next.
Like I let these people down. Perhaps
I don't feel
the
bad at
Stanley
all. I think they
Parable
suck.
isn't quite as sterling as I
Tired of
always
hearing the
remembered.
nonsense. Focus is all for us. Black America, we
What's
gotta
this
move
one
away
got to
from it.
say?
We gotta get out the burning house. I'm so
You
fine.
constantly have to stop
Anybody
doing
trying to tell you we
anything
need to
so the
get
narrator
to the
can
house?
catch up with his long-winded
We
explanations
need to throw water
of
on the
what's
house. Is an
happening.
idiot. We
I
need to
wish
get
there
out
was
the
a skip
house.
button.
The new house.
A
We need to
skip
build our
button.
own new house. You understand what I'm saying?
Well,
We need to build a new party.
Yes, I think
This
we
has
can do
to
that.
end.
If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for
Save
just
it.
a moment, surely it couldn't hurt.
Even want
What
to
if
save
it
it?
means we can strike these negative reviews
You
from
know
the
good.
record? Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my
Let me know what you think in the
I'd
comment
do
section.
anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes,
Go on,
a
Johnson.
skip button we shall have.
Talk about these terms. We gotta talk about the terms.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time
let
so
me
that the
enlighten
second my incessant droning
Donald
starts
Trump
to bore
briskly
you with
announced
just the
terms.
push of a button, you'll have zipped right past
Canada
it. It's
and
what the players
China.
have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me
It's great
rambling
news.
on and on and on. No, 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 no.
You recognize me. Yeah, you know it.
You were
The
only
one,
frozen in time
the
for
only,
a few minutes,
Bang Bang
but it was
Shrimp,
plenty of time
and only
for
a
me to
Bonefish
deliver a
Grill.
long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and
Oh, there's a
lengthy
clip about it.
ruminations
Let's
on the
talk about
nature of choice in video games.
Released
Of course,
the identity
I
of
happen
the
to
third
believe
crew
it
member
was
aboard
perhaps
that
one of my
Black Hawk
more
helicopter
profound
that
such
collided
ruminations.
with an
Not
American
that, of
Airlines
course, you
flight
need a
with the
description of
Potomac
it,
River
but
this
if I
week.
had to describe
Tonight,
it,
the Army
I'd
released
say
the
it was
identity
perhaps
of the
less
third
of a
crew member
rumination
aboard that Black
and
Hawk
more of a
helicopter that
treatise.
collided
Or
with an American
maybe a
Airlines
Manifesto.
Over the Potomac River this week.
Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once, that you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first, I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation. And I do find myself in this situation frequently.
Okay.
I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. Treat. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized gas review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Yes, I'll take any option. I'm asking you to work with me here. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you.
Nope. This shit crazy. They ain't got shit to say now, huh? Finally, the voices just stopped.
But they didn't understand
Oh
the
my
game
God.
was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed. The end is never the end, 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 is never.
The fuck is going on here? Sunlight. Fuck, can't jump. This shit is something else, boy. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Fuck. Oh, what the fuck? I'm free! Come here, son. Right. The end is never the end. This shit right here. Motherfucker voice in my head dead. That motherfucker done went crazy. He ain't had nobody talk. Are you fucking serious? I'm back.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started.
Ooh, something
and
new.
if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
New content.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Why not? Fuck it. New content.
The Nonpartisan Tax Foundation says tariffs could cost the average American family $830 a year. CBS's Willie James Inman is in West Palm Beach, near where President Trump is spending the weekend. Willie James?
Nancy, good evening to you. President Trump delivering on a key campaign threat.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing his ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Deficits. Number one is the people that have poured into our country so horribly and so much. Number two are the drugs, fentanyl, and everything else.
Government data shows over 21,000 pounds of
isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why there are so many possibilities? It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Immediate response. Nearly 30% of all imports to the U.S. come from Canada and Mexico.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than UltraDeluxe, don't you think? UltraDeluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Energy imports. Now, Canada is America's largest supplier of both oil and natural gas. Nancy?
Willie James Inman, thank you. Trade between the U.S. and Canada is big business, and earlier today I spoke...
Wow, okay, guys. That's tough. That's tough to swallow. But you know what I realized? As I was listening to this clip, I hadn't noticed. It said $830 a year. It will cost the average American $800 a year for these terms. And I was thinking, you know what? That much. Because
now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be. But let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up.
How much will it be costing Canada and
work
China?
Itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific.
Canada and Mexico, how much would they be hurt? I think theirs will be exponentially more. The thing about the terms, it's not supposed to be long term. It's supposed to be a bargaining chip to get people to do what you wanted to do. Do what you wanted if you asked. So if you just ask them to do something, they don't want to do it. So now Trump is trying to give them incentives to do it. Yes. To be fair, let's listen to a clip where Trump explains the terms need to happen.
For business is super simple. The key is that you need startup capital, and I'm going to show you how to get almost $10,000 that the government owes you so that you can
use tonight to force.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features. A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2. Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already. Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on. Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue on. Great! Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I've prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know, I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath.
Did you get the skip button
clear
yet?
your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling...
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, and finally dying a slow death at an old age, surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
Jim.
Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Did you get the 88888888 trophy yet?
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable too. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature. Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life. God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic. All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now? So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 42. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it? When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it.
Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a... You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have? Yeah. Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad.
ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work. Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known
was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs, trying to, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler anlarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler anlarines. None of us can.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start? Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply... Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. Stanley just sat around, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. Monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and to... What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, or go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.